Okay, starting early. Why my mic muted, I do not know, but uh, did a video with Hungar just talking about gaming related stuff. I'll get that up later. Uh, of course, the main two things that I'm worried about right now are a Song of Ice and Fire, which I've got my Greyjoys done. There's a couple of extra units that came in a box that I don't even use. And then I'm going to probably go with Starks because all the people around here that I would play the game with seem to be more interested in playing the Stark army than the Lannister army, and that's fine. That's cool. I'll paint up some Starks. I've got a shit ton of them, so not an issue. Right now, I'm throwing some sandbags down because hey, it's what you do, especially if you were ever in the infantry. Sandbags, it's a thing. So, what do I got to talk about? Well, just in case some of you guys want to hear some news, in news, one of my most disliked human beings on the planet for many reasons, all of them very personal. Apparently, he's in big trouble for being a creep. I, of course, am talking about the blue haired degenerate Destiny. And I have to say that I am not surprised at all because it seems like the more progressive, the more pro feminist a guy claims to be, the more likely they're going to be some kind of predator. I don't know why that is. I don't maybe causation and correlation and all that. Maybe some math people can be like, well, actually, but it just seems like the more these guys get online and talk about how pro feminist they are, the more likely they're going to end up being a chomo or a cock or some other such thing, you know. So yeah, it's like I've been following the story, and I have to say I'm laughing. Um, there's this movie out that apparently Hollywood is loving called The Immigrant, and I have to admit I don't think I am at all surprised that this movie was put out when it was put out because it's like okay, the current president is trying to deport a bunch of immigrants. So let's put out a movie about how awesome immigrants are. I think that's missing the point that I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'm going to assume that the guy in question's a legal immigrant or whatever. I know there's one scene where he's yelling at his wife about how these people don't want us here. And all I can say to that is, you're 100% right. Uh, most people, the majority, even, regardless of what, some of the people on the progressive communist left would have you believe, the majority of Americans do not want you here. And, you know, before I hear it, because I hear it, I'm not an immigrant, nor am I the descendant of immigrants. My family was in the United States before the United States existed, living in a part of the country that wasn't even a part of anything. You know what I mean? They came over on a boat to the British Crown Colony and immediately effed the hell out into the wilderness, fighting natives and living off the land and all that. So no. Celestial Mindset. How are you? Leth, how you doing, bro? Leth, if you want in, let me know. You're allowed to join if you want, of course. But game related though, yeah, I've just been really focusing on Trench Crusade and A Song of Ice and Fire. Aren't Native Americans actual Americans? No, they immigrated here. I mean, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, how long does somebody have to live in a country before they can claim to be native of that country? You know, that's the thing. Native Indians, we call them Indians, as we would say. I don't know. You must be from Europe or something. But or Canadian, you want to call them First Nations. And see, here's the thing: where I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, the main Indians that were around were Cherokee, and the Cherokee told all kinds of stories about all the different people that were here before they got here. You know, the moon-eyed people who are short white people with blonde, or not blonde, white hair and blue eyes, that the Cherokee, according to their own legends, ended up driving underground or wiping out, you know, one way or another. And then, of course, all the Plains Indians talk about the red-headed cannibalistic giants that used to eat them. I mean, they all talk about that. I'm saying that you aren't actually Native American. I'm saying no one is historically Native American. I'm telling you that when the Native Americans, as we call them, the Indians from Asia and the Pacific, came across the ocean to dwell on this continent, there were already people here. And in most cases, the new people wiped them out. It's kind of like how the Lakota Sioux bitch about the Black Hills region, even though not 100 years before they had committed genocide on the tribe that lived there. And, you know, and tried to blame white people because we gave guns to the Chippewa Indians, and the Chippewa, of course, tried to wipe out the Lakota because the Lakota were a bunch of thieving scumbags. Who would I consider an immigrant? Anyone coming to the United States right now from another country is definitely an immigrant. 100%. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's an immigrant. So, like, if you have a country somewhere in the world, but you decide you want to come to another country, you're an immigrant. Like, if I wanted to move to Ireland, I would be an immigrant. Not only that, I would never claim, no matter how long I lived in Ireland or Germany or wherever, to be that thing. That's so crazy, you know, when you see, it's like, because not only is Ireland a country, it's an ethnicity.
Yep.
So if you move a bunch of South African or North African or whatever Africans into Ireland, well, okay, after the founding of the United States, after the United States was founded as an independent country, anyone who moved in here is an immigrant, right? And I guess when this was the crown colony of England, you could say that the people who came across were immigrants to the crown colony. But what about the people who came across to the crown colony and then immediately effed off into lands that were not claimed by anyone? I don't know if you know this or not, but most of Eastern Kentucky was not claimed by any Indian tribe. They did not go there if they could help it. They considered it to be a sacred / haunted place full of evil spirits and stuff.
If so, that means that it'd be more likely the dark and bloody ground than the happy hunting ground, huh?
They would hunt there, but they also like to
Ah,
bury their dead there too.
yeah, no, man. Just a weird thing.
Right. So, like people who move from Pakistan to England, let's say, no matter how long they live in Britain, they will never be British. No matter. It doesn't matter. Their family can live in Britain for 500 years. They will never be British because British is an ethnicity in addition to being a nation, Britain. So while I am predominantly Germanic and Scandinavian, see, even if I moved to Britain, I could never be British.
Oh,
Agram. I don't know who Agram is, but
me neither.
we'll see. Hello, Agram. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Oh, I know who
Oh,
Agram is.
yeah.
He's our friend in India.
Okay,
Exactly.
James. I have mostly Scottish or Celtic blood, but my name is English. Am I English or Celtic then?
That gets confusing. That gets confusing because of all the bullshit. I mean, so many people where I grew up are what they call Scots Irish.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
probably
like
my
a
family.
group of people who just don't even know. Actually, we know the Scots Irish were Scotsmen that were given land and property in Ireland
Hmm.
because they were Protestants. Right now, as in how long ago? I told you that. I guess he didn't like the answer. Hey, Bear.
And Bear.
Well, look at that. We're getting the full house in.
I looked up the Stewart family name to see where that came from.
The
That was
Stuarts.
weird.
One of the
Yep.
kings of England was a Stuart.
Stuart, I think Stuart is English, isn't it? I
No,
don't mind.
not the version mine were from.
Oh, okay.
Mine's the Stewart.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the Scottish. I'm my family's Scottish name is Lawrence, my adopted family, but that's an English family that sort of became Scottish when they wound up on the wrong side of a border exchange, basically.
Well, yeah, that's like I was saying about the Scots Irish. They're Scottish people who were originally Irish people who moved back to Ireland because they were Protestant and
Yeah.
got given a bunch of land to rule over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, never forget Scotland comes from the Latin "Scoti," which means Irish.
Yeah. So that
And
should
here's
get,
another thing: the Stewarts were actually once kings, apparently.
that's what I'm telling
That's
you. There
nice.
were Stuart kings, yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Ireland.
Well,
I don't know if where, but
listen, being a king of Ireland was not a difficult accomplishment at one point in time. Like, there's an awful lot of families that have Irish king in their history.
Oh, fair. I have minor English nobility too, because Pilkington came from
Pilkington.
Lancashire.
Pilkington came from Manchester.
I've always seen it from Lancashire.
He is a round-headed little buffoon who is over obsessed with monkeys. Do you know who
Okay,
I'm talking about?
Oh, Carl.
No.
Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, okay.
That's why Ricky Gervais is always calling him a mank twat because he's from Manchester.
No, I looked up the history for Pilkingtons, and apparently we came from like Lancashire as a minor nobility up until the War of Roses, and then we got kicked out.
Would I consider somebody who came to the United States as an immigrant if they came through the right way and they had their papers and all? No, I'd consider them a citizen. If they crept across the border illegally, I'd consider them a criminal.
Yeah,
The
immigrants.
whole word immigrant is weird because if I moved from Kentucky to Orlando, right? Technically, I'm an immigrant. I migrated from one place to another place, right?
Fair, but
So just that whole word is stupid, right? If you enter a country legally, you're a citizen. Unless
use
you're
a
on some kind of
term-
weird work visa or
Well,
something like that.
We use a term in Canada. We say "new Canadian."
Well,
Right?
James,
Like that, until they get their permanent residency and then their citizenship, they're considered a new Canadian. And then once they're a citizen, they're Canadian, and that's just the way it works.
Right. And I agree with that, my Canadian brother, 100%. If somebody comes over and they go through the work and become a citizen, they're citizens. It don't matter.
Yeah, they're Americans now. Yeah.
They are Americans. Because
H-1B holders,
America
those are
is-
indentured servants.
Well, because America is not an ethnicity.
Nope. Neither is
Unlike
Canadian.
pretty much.
Okay, James. I do
Unlike
got
pretty
one.
much every other country that can say, like our buddy from India, he is Indian. And he will always be Indian no matter what his nationality is. But I can never be Indian, even if I become a citizen of India.
Actually, no. You can become Indian if you're a citizen of India. What you can't become is Hindu, Bengali, Sikh, Punjabi Sikh.
Yeah, whatever
that's
the
the
ethnicity
subdivision,
is.
right? That's the ethnicities. But the nationality is Indian.
What about H? Oh, this guy must be a migrant, and he's curious about it.
I'd say those are indentured servants without.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel
Is that
about
the work
H-1B.
visa?
Yeah,
On
the
the
H-1.
one hand, it
there's
seems like kind of cool to get really smart people to come over to America. And
That's
be
not the
really
H-1B
smart.
though. That's the H-1A, I think. But the H-1Bs are basically given to basically certain groups for telecommunications and stuff, I guess you could say.
If you're hiring people to come over and pick crops with H1 whatevers, then to me that's just slavery with extra steps.
That might be a different version of the H1s, but the H1B is usually done in the tech community for call center people mostly. And they get no say in where they work. They can't leave the job, and if they do, they get kicked back to their own country.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, they're
What about
basically indentured servants for the company they work for.
what about CEOs which have like H1Bs?
Okay, if you are a super rich dude
CEOs
and
don't
you
get
own a company and
H1Bs.
you want to come to America, you should be fast tracked to citizenship.
They probably
Because
do, actually.
yeah, there is an AI and the owner of it is on H1B and he has a net worth of like 10 billion or
Odd
something.
thing, because you would think that that would actually be a different visa in that situation.
Nah, he has
Well, I think we've
H1B only.
determined that the whole H1B thing is complicated.
It is kind of complicated. There might be a few that's not what I said, but most of them are basically just telecommunication people.
Wait. H-1B, is that the pig flu or the bird flu? I keep getting them confused.
Yeah.
I know.
Which version of SARS is that?
But here's something, James. I do got one question for citizenship. What if legally you couldn't become a citizen, but you were a permanent resident of a country?
Why would you not be able to become legally a citizen?
Well, in America during the 1800s, apparently people from China could not become American citizens.
Yeah, but we don't live in 1800s, so that's a what if question that I don't like
Well,
what if questions.
Again, this is actually something that happened in our legal system where a kid was born from those legal
You know
residents.
what? In the 1800s, we had slavery too. Are you going to ask me what if we had a bunch of slaves?
This was after the slavery, and this kid
You
used
get what I'm saying, Les. Don't be
no.
different. I don't like what if scenarios.
Oh, fair.
Because it's like, I'll tell you what, 5-year-olds will what if you to death. And I've had multiple 5-year-olds that, I raised. And they will, well, what if the sky were red? Well, what if grass was this? Well, what if that? And it's like, what if shut the F up, And
they also have why.
Yeah,
there's no
on everything.
There's no answer to why.
Yeah, it's like,
why is the sky blue? Well, because it's a reflection of the water through the light spectrum of that. Why does that happen?
Why?
Well, because that's how the spectrum of light works. Why? Why? Well, until you're just like, and I think what's his name?
You don't do it.
Well, Louis C.K. said it best. He said before he had kids, he'd sit and see a mother get mad at their kids for asking questions. Be like, I'll never be a parent like that. And he goes, now with the endless amounts of whys, you just get to a point where because shut up and eat your fucking French fries. That's why.
I've got there.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Green? Oh, I thought a Grim was going to say something.
Grim.
Nope.
I'm probably not even saying that right because
FK.
you know how
Can
different
you repeat?
languages put
Oh, there.
emphasis on different syllables.
He's starting to talk again. Maybe there was something wrong.
Well,
Because,
I want to hear about this CEO because if he's the CEO of a successful business and he's got money and shit, he needs to come over here and be a citizen.
yeah, I don't know why he's on an H-1B. That's
Yeah, the H-1B thing, no, he should be fast tracked.
Do you know about Perplexity AI?
AI, no, I
Yep.
don't know much about AI.
me
Wait,
neither.
I'll just send something in chat. Just search that.
Yeah, I know about Substacks, but
Okay, just a minute.
yeah, but H-1B again, depending, it's like progressives will be like, if you get rid of all the immigrants, then you'll starve to death. Perplexity AI. And it's like, that is so racist because you're basically saying the only thing an immigrant can do in the United States is pick strawberries,
Yeah.
which is like not even true because a lot of that shit is. I grew up on a farm where we had to do it the old way. But
Most,
like big farms, they got machines that
yeah, they
will
got
plant
machines.
the crops and freaking spray them and harvest them. You know, so like when what's her name was like, if you get rid of all of the immigrants, who's going to clean your toilets? And it's like, really? So every immigrant that comes to America is only here to clean your rich white ass's toilet. That's all they're good for. It's like, why did we sacrifice 500 plus million young men, 99% white guys, to end slavery on this continent if we're just going to do slavery, but we're going to call it something else? Pisses me
Yeah,
off. And I'm
exactly.
a Southerner even. And it still pisses me off how it seems like certain people are still trying to sneak slavery back into being a thing. It's like, no, stop that. But yeah, certain
Well,
people, they should get fast tracked. If there's somebody that you know for a fact is going to add value to the country just by being here, like doctors, engineers, inventors, CEOs,
yeah,
people like that.
that's another thing that's really messed up with our immigration system. Instead of fast tracking those people, we make them go through the schooling again.
And it's like, this guy's a doctor. He
Yeah,
probably don't need to go through any school.
maybe if
He's
they're
already went
from,
through like 12 years of school. He's probably good.
we might need some kind of testing system to make sure they're good on their stuff. But if they know what they're doing, we should just let them in.
So I guess we all agree. If they're a benefit to the country, let them in.
I'm a little bit different.
Or
on
if
that.
they're in a country where they're being murdered and abused,
Yeah, I'll even
and
accept
they have
refugees
no other,
right now.
like, they're like fleeing for their lives, then you give that a thought.
Although nearest countries should be, prospect first.
Well, obviously,
ours.
but still, yeah, the refugee thing, I am not against refugees fleeing countries where they are being murdered.
For the
Because
most
deep
part,
down inside, I'm a little bit of a softie.
I also
some
think
people
that
would
we
say.
might need to, not completely close down our borders, but mostly just to try to fix things culturally here
I
first.
think we have for the next 90 days.
At least for now.
So, and we're no longer going to give anybody any money for like 90 days.
Yep.
And the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America.
Is
And
it though? Really?
Yes.
I never called it anything but the Gulf, and I live 45 minutes from it. And
Here's
I'd be
the thing,
like,
Bear.
you want to go fishing in the Gulf? Yeah, we'll go to the Gulf side.
Who's going to say
Instead of the
no?
Atlantic side, I mean, 'cause you
Mexico,
get to different kinds of
the
fish.
Caribbean. There's a whole bunch of countries that share that body of water with you guys.
Okay, who?
They're all American,
Who
though.
is?
No, they're not all American.
They are.
Okay, how about this?
North
Who
and South
consequentially?
I believe the Caribbean islands identify as Caribbean primarily. or
Okay, Bear.
Caribbean,
I
if you
think it's
prefer.
still part of the American continent.
It's North America for sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
still
yeah.
part of that. So,
Yeah.
so technically, calling it the Gulf of America is more inclusive than calling it the Gulf of,
And more correct.
because it still includes Mexico,
Yeah.
but it includes everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know he did it just to be
Okay.
a troll, but
Oh, I
hey,
know. Trust me,
Hey.
just like when he kept telling Justine that he was the governor of the 51st state of Canada. You know,
North-
like the
North
smart people went,
Dakota.
oh, look at you just baiting and being like a little troll. And then like all the stupid people are like, well, Canada's a Canada. And it's like, shut up. We know. We don't expect you're going to be annexed tomorrow. Stop your nonsense.
yeah, none of that's going to happen.
Like,
Like
what's
when the
wrong with
Babylon
you?
Bee said that Canada will now be called Gay
North
North
Gay.
Dakota,
It was
Gay
North
North
Gay
Dakota.
Dakota.
There we go. Gay Dakota.
and that Justin Trudeau will become Justine and be the first female mayor of Gay North Dakota.
Yeah, first female governor.
No, Bear. Back to what,
It's
what
like
you say about
no
the Gulf
one
of
thinks
Mexico.
any of that is actually
Who of
like people in the
consequence?
Pentagon right now are drawing up plans to conquer.
Well,
Gay
you
North
already have plans. The U.S. has plans to invade every country in the world.
Well,
Yes.
hey, I mean,
War
it's
Plan. War
it's
Plan
good to be
Red.
prepared.
War Plan Yellow.
I
But
mean,
yeah, again,
I
Bear.
can't think of a single country in the world I would want to invade.
No.
Leth, what the hell were you trying to say? Every time you try and say it, James starts talking. What do you got to say, Leth?
I meant who of consequence would stop us from calling it Gulf of
It's
America?
not a question of stopping. It's just a question of ignoring your bullshit. Do you understand? Like, that's all the rest of us have to do is just go, no. And then you just look like the assholes. You know, well, that's pretty much par for the course with you guys mostly anyway. So
A lot of times, I'm not going to deny it. We do asshole stuff.
you kind of got a brand. You know what I mean?
Our brand is the F around and find out brand. That's what we export.
Well,
We export
the
F
other
around
thing you
find
export that's really important that all these people forget when they talk shit about America and all these fucking shitholes around the world or countries going, fuck Americans, fuck. The amount of money you guys give those countries as foreign aid is embarrassing.
Yeah,
And
well,
it
It's
shouldn't happen.
embarrassing how much of your GDP is spent on other nations just so they can provide fucking water and electricity to their people. You know? Yet
what's
these people bite
crazy
the hand that
is
feeds them.
a lot of the countries that we give money to are actually Western technologically advanced countries.
Yeah.
And we're still giving them money. It's like,
I'm
it's
wondering
like, dude,
why.
you're
Oh.
These people hate us, and they keep
No.
saying how they used to hate
Listen,
us, and they
it's
want
like
our
your
money.
standard of living is higher than mine.
Leth, it's real simple. You're the present minister, prime resident of Bananistan, okay? And every year, James's America gives you $1 billion. And your people love to talk shit about America, and they love to go, America bad, but suddenly your neighboring country, Fuckaroundistan, has decided to start testing international water claims with you, and you get $1 billion a year from James. So you're able to say, hey, James, Fuckaroundistan is, well, they're living up to their name. Anything you can do to help us out? And James says, well, I'd really like to put an air base at the end of that one piece of land you have over there, and that would let me fly patrols over your water. Or we can just take away your $1 billion and you can just deal with Fuckaroundistan yourself. Absolutely. Have the land, build a base. Go right ahead, sir. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is pretty much it. Plus, anywhere we build a base, their GDP goes up because soldiers love to spend money on hookers and beer.
And smokes.
Yeah. So unless you're like a hardcore Islamic country, you're going to make a ton of money having a base near anything. But the negative is your crime rate is going to go up because there's going to be a lot more vice, because there's going to be a lot more hookers and
Wait, James, are you basically suggesting that if we depuritanize the world and actually regulated vice as opposed to treating it like a forbidden substance, we could control the amount of criminals who make money off of it by allowing people to actually go and purchase it without shame? No, that's crazy talk, you fucking commie.
As a Orthodox Christian, I believe that it's a wrong thing to do, but if I'm not involved in it, it's not really my place to tell.
No, you can have a personal. You can literally have a personal opposition to it, and I respect that, and I celebrate that you have a personal opposition to it, and I think you're entitled to that. But when your personal opposition, based on, and I'll be as respectful as I can, religion, is the reason why the government itself is imposing these regulations or these shames and taboos, we have a problem. Because now all we're doing is making criminals rich and causing problems for people.
Well, of course. I mean, one of the worst things America ever did was prohibition.
Oh, and they still didn't learn from it. Look how they didn't learn from prohibition.
No, they declared the war on drugs. Guess what? Drugs won.
Uh-huh. The war on sex. Guess what? Sex won.
Well,
All right.
It's always gone.
Yeah, go drive around Aurora, the street Aurora in Seattle, and you'll literally see women in lingerie walking down the street all day, all night, waiting to be picked up.
Yep.
Openly.
We have that. It's called Orange Blossom Trail in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
And
You've told me
those
about
biatches are out there working at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I know this because when I was going to paramedic school, I had to drive down OBT to Sand Lake Road. And I had to be there at like 8 o'clock. So I would be, you always got to be early, And they would be out there. And I'd always be like, damn, those girls is dedicated or something.
No, it was the same in Vancouver. I used to, when I'd come home from work at 8 in the morning, and I'd see all the crackos out, and I'd be like, God damn, but a friend of mine put it best. He said, yeah, but there's a shit ton of businessmen who think it's really cool to be able to pay for a blowjob before heading into the office.
I guess.
And in Chinese culture, which is very prevalent in Vancouver because of the vast amount of Chinese population there, it's actually considered a sign of privilege to be able to pay for sex. Like it shows you as being a better class because you have the money to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I learned something new every day. I know my buddy Don Skid, the guy that lived in Calgary, man, he hated Chinese people. And I never knew why, but God, he just...
I lived in Vancouver for 8 years, and the Chinese population outnumbers everybody by a factor of almost like 10 to 1 in Vancouver, and I learned something very quickly about the Chinese living there. Leave them alone, they leave you alone. They want nothing to do with you, and if you don't bug them, no problem. And if you just say hi to your neighbor when you walk out on the street, they say, cool. Yeah, Bear used to be protection services for sex trade workers there, Celestial Mindset. So, yeah, I know a lot about prostitution and pornography.
He has opinions based on real life things. Me, I know nothing about the sex trade, but I do know based on just like thinking about it that I would rather them all be checked out for AIDS and every other thing.
Yes, legalize it, license it. Force them to have monthly physical checks and blood tests and everything else, and make it a taxable fucking thing. Get them off the streets. Stop this idea that you can't run a potty house. Destroy the pimp industry overnight. You know what I mean? Like really. And then that way,
think about it, a pimp is basically a slave owner.
Well, and think about this. If you legalize it, put it into places of business, literally legalize bordellos like they do in the deserts out in Nevada and stuff like that. You can then allow the police to focus on the underage problem in prostitution because they're not chasing their tail after the legal one all of a sudden. Do you understand?
Yeah. I've always thought that, and this is just because I am a hardcore free market capitalist. You should be able to sell whatever you want.
If you are the age of majority, yes.
If you are an adult and you want to enter into a contract with another adult about selling a good or service, I won't get into detail about what good or service we're talking about.
Who was it who said, as an adult, I can give you money. As an adult, you can give me sex. But as adults, I'm not allowed to give you money for sex.
And like I said, I would never promote it, but if some chick wants $50 to do a thing for you and you want to do that thing, then It's okay to sell drugs in Hitman, Celestial.
No, because hitman is murder, and I don't agree with that. And drugs, yeah, it's okay to sell drugs so long as you regulate it, make sure that there's services available, and all that kind of stuff. Portugal did it and had great success. I'll be right back.
That's what I was saying I was going to blow his mind. I am a huge fan of the Portugal method, which is stop putting them in jail, legalize shit. Whenever you catch them ODing or something, put their asses in rehab. It's going to be cheaper. And a lot of addicts, including, my cousin Steven, he died, but, because heroin. He was not a bad guy. He never committed a crime in his life. He was a junkie. So, locking him up with a bunch of murderers and shit doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And the hitman, again, the contract, what you're talking about is the contract between the guy doing the killing and wanting the killing, but you're forgetting the third person who don't want to be killed. And that means that is not a consensual contract. Therefore, no, we don't do that. So, I mean, I guess I kind of see your thought. You're trying to do a logic thing there, but you kind of didn't get it done. But maybe next time. I mean, we're all young. But yeah, I'm actually legalize it and let don't go back again. Homans. Yeah, right. That guy. He's I mean, it's only an issue if you are here illegally. That's it. That's it. And every country, I'll tell you what, sneak into Mexico illegally, they will throw you in prison. No ands, ifs, buts, or coconuts, you go to jail. 90% of the countries on this planet, if you sneak in there illegally, you get to go to jail. For some reason, America, Canada, basically the whole Commonwealth or former Commonwealth, we are the only countries on the whole planet. It's like, come on in. We don't care if you sneak in. Come on in. Hell, let's give you driver's license and the ability to vote. It's like, wait a minute. There's guys who are hardworking dudes from other countries that would love to come here and bring their families and pay taxes and maybe open up something that we all like.
And I'm back.
And they can't come in. They can't come in.
Wouldn't they like take your jobs?
The only Hindis I've ever seen in America, have been doctors. It's like for the longest time, every doctor I went to see was Hindi.
Do you not know the career path of the average Indian son?
Doctor?
Oh my goodness, you've never heard this before. This is brilliant. I was taught this by the guys I used to work with. The career path of every Indian son is first choice doctor, second choice lawyer, third choice disappointment.
Is that the ones that always own the 7-Eleven?
Well, I mean, somebody's got to do something, right?
So one of the things I love is when people say things like that. I'm not giving you shit about the left, but the point is that these families come here, they see an opportunity, they take it, they make the most of it, they wind up buying 4 or 5 7-Elevens, and then suddenly they're living the dream. Meanwhile, a bunch of fucking rednecks sit around with their truck notes going, "Why these fuckers come here and take our jobs?" Well, why don't you fucking get off your ass and take advantage of the opportunities that have been laid out before you that you can't see because you've grown up in the land of privilege, as opposed to the people who come here and go, "Holy fuck, I can do that."
Not just rednecks, the gangbangers.
Okay. I know it's not just rednecks, but I was making a point.
Look, I'm not complaining about them.
There's a lot of bodegas that black dudes could run.
Oh yeah,
they just don't want to. But then they get pissed off if a Hindu's running it, and then they want to rob him and shit.
That's
It's
a whole
like-
other problem we're not going to get into because that's a can of worms that just opens a horrible place. But the idea that America is a land of opportunity still remains true today. It's a lot
Yeah.
harder, and the table has been tilted, and it really sucks that that's happened.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You're on the verge of a revolution down there where you're gonna fucking start turfing your rich pretty soon.
Probably.
Did you see what China did?
China,
Oh my God,
I
this
know,
is
is in
fucking-
the middle of some fuckery.
Yeah.
No, they just released an AI called DeepSeek R1, which basically is better than all of the fucking Silicon Valley AIs. It runs on less system requirements. It only costs them $10 million to make as a side project, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all the fucking American AI companies are freaking out so much so that the guy that's in charge of OpenAI, whose name I can never remember, put up a tweet quoting Napoleon about revolutions and got ratioed by a comment that said, just make a better product, dude. It's not that hard. It's like fuck, like it's like that. As much as I have problems with China, oh my God, I love that. Like fucking rights, man. Teach
Here's
these
the thing,
pricks to
it's
do
like-
better.
People forget when they want to be communists that one of the last things that Mao did was put China back on a capitalist economic system.
At least
It's
somewhat.
like they kept all the communist shit, but they got rid of the communist economy and they're like, let's do some free trade over here because all this starving to death sucks.
But that's going to hurt them in the long run because they've built up a middle class that they're trying to control now, and eventually their middle class is going to revolt.
Yeah, the middle class is like, piss on you guys.
Yeah, the middle
Yeah,
class
they
is
will
already
go extinct
pretty
if they don't do something. But I saw an article, I watched a thing on YouTube where Chinese men, especially of money, are paying Eastern European girls to just move to China and marry them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
listen,
they don't have many
listen,
women there
listen.
anymore.
The Chinese
it's because
national
Chinese
population
women
has a
have such
problem.
Go ahead, Bear. I'm sorry.
Sorry, the Chinese national population has a problem, yes. But that's all across Southeast Asia right now. The entire population crisis that's hitting in Korea, Japan, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Thing is, just two things are not going to happen. One, this absolute nonsense idea that this is going to cause population collapse is ridiculous and is just more media doomer bullshit. And it just means there'll be a contraction for a generation, and then they'll start having fucking babies again real fucking fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, there are a billion Chinese in China. How many aren't in China is the next question you need to ask yourself, and how many of them would go
Quite a bit.
home if the red government was overthrown?
Many
Probably
of
a
them
few.
here saving every penny so they could one day bring their families over and create this beautiful Chinatown.
Beautiful Chinatown you see today.
You're right.
Outstanding, Wang. Outstanding, Egg.
Yeah.
What
But
more could you ask for? The 6 demon bag.
the other issue, my wife was watching this show. They had this thing because I guess they have matchmakers in China. And these people did this huge matchmaking event. And like no men showed up.
Yep.
But then all the women, their expectations were like unmeet. He must be at least 2-point-something meters tall. He must basically be a billionaire. And it's like, bitch, you're 30 years old. No one.
Hang on. Other than Yao Min, how many fucking 2-point-something meter Chinese guys do you know? I'm 1.92, buddy, and I'm 6'3".
Right. So it was like that's the other big issue is Chinese women, for some reason, had developed this weird like standard that no man can meet.
Yeah.
Egg Chan, yeah.
Egg Chen.
I love that
you mean Chinese black magic.
Oh. Well, give me some proof, Egg. Give me something I can, and he does that.
That's it, just a little bit.
That was very small, but that's how it always starts.
Exactly. Like, I got to watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, it's one of John Carpenter's best movies. Yeah, that egg basket is empty. She's 30. She wants a 6.5 foot tall Chinese man who is a millionaire. And it's like, girl, what are you thinking? You need a farmer who owns 2 acres of land and grows rice because that's realistic and and you can have a happy life if and you can have a bunch of kids and it can be great.
Oh,
But
friend, I seen a funny video about Tesla bots.
oh yeah, well,
it's like they had.
watching Elon Musk grin all big like a little kid and throw thumbs up when Trump said we're sending people to Mars. It was just like it's like that's Elon Musk's birthday present right there. It's like Trump's like, hey, thanks for backing me. We're sending people to Mars. And Elon's like,
Can we make a list?
yeah, right.
I got to go, boys. I just finished work and I got shit to do because I'm moving on Thursday. So you have yourselves a great day, and thanks for letting me hang out for a bit.
See you, man.
Hey, you're always welcome. You know that.
Peace, love, and
You're one of our favorite people from gay North Dakota.
you know what? As the arguably greatest leader of gay North Dakota, I'd just like to say, watch your bum holes, boys.
More single Chinese women in the 40s. Yeah, that's the thing is in China, if you're older than 26, they consider you an old maid. It's too late for you. You know what I mean? So these girls get into their 30s and they want these men that wouldn't in a billion years even look at them. And then they get all pissed off and uppity about it. And then the side effect is that the men are just like, yeah, I'm not even messing with them, right? So the new thing is, hey, there's this country in Eastern Europe called Ukraine, right? And they're not doing great right this second. They got some pretty hot women. Hey, Chinese guy sends a message to freaking Kiev and tells some tall Ukrainian woman, I make decent money. You come over here and marry me, we'll crank out 3-4 kids, whatever. It's great. And the Ukrainian woman's like, hell yeah.
Oh, wait, can they do that yet? Because I thought they were
Yeah,
still
they
on the
can
one
do
child
that.
policy.
Yeah, no, they lifted that.
Finally.
That freaking one child bullshit. And then they went to 2 child, and then they went to just please,
Please.
Like, I'll pass on the dragon skanks, It's like, yeah, once a woman is in their mid-late 30s, it's time to lower the bar. Because, I mean, you're not going to have kids. Anyone who marries you, they're marrying you out of love because you're probably not going to bear them children. So, but if you're a 20-year-old Ukrainian and you don't mind having a bunch of kids with a Chinese man, you got the hookup. You know what I'm saying? Go get it. And that's not because they're fleeing the war with the Russians. It's just that the Ukraine sucks. And they just want to leave, It's like the most corrupt country in the world with the most human trafficking. Yeah, I'd be getting out of there too. So it was an interesting thing. I actually was walking through the house and I saw the wife watching it. I had to stop for a second and watch that.
Oh, yeah, the whole one child policy wasn't really obeyed all that much. It was just, it caused a ton of problems.
Yeah, he's like, black blood of the earth. You mean oil? No, I mean black blood of the earth. Or when that thing comes out and he's like, it will come out no longer. And Jack Burton's like, what will come out no longer? Because, they're just like, pass on the dragon skanks. Well, I have never been the weird white guy with the Asian fetish. So I've never had to worry about it. I've known a lot of white guys that got that Asian fetish, but I was never one of those. I was more of a Hispanic fetish guy, if you could call it a fetish.
Hey, each guy has their type.
Yeah. Which is why my second wife was Puerto Rican, because, that was right up my alley. That was the kind of thing that was what I was into, hot-blooded Latinas.
Not bad. Come on,
Yeah, that was a thing. But they also, Cal, were doing like forced government abortions and like where they would go to a pregnant woman's house and drag her out to like a hospital and abort the fetus. And it was just like, what? And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, shit.
Our population's not doing so well. We need more people.
If we don't do something, we're going to end up with way more people on retirement than we have actually working.
Yeah. Another issue is Also, the mass decrepity from male to female, there was not an even number of them.
Nope. Well, it's because parents in China, if given the choice between a um, male child and a female child, almost always took the male child.
Yeah, that's the way you pass down your family.
So then you end up with this weird situation where, 80% of the population is young men and they would love to get married and have families, but they just can't because, it's just not possible. And then you've got these crazed women that feel like they deserve this lifestyle that obviously they don't deserve. And it's like, it's, but it happens in America. It's like that too, right? You ever see those things where studying? Okay.
That's
Good
fine.
luck with your studies, bro.
Yeah, in America, there's also women like that too, with like crazy, unrealistic expectations.
Oh, you see these guys walk up to these like women, and these women are like threes at best. We're talking like 280-pound swamp beast, and the guy will be like, "What kind of man do you need?" And she'll be like, "Well, he's got to be at least 6 foot tall. He's got to make at least 5 figures a year. Blah blah blah." And it's like, bitch, you are fat and ugly. What world are you living in? But it's because their girlfriends always tell them how beautiful they are. Like when a man lays the truth down on them and they whine about, they go to their girlfriend and they're like, "This guy called me ugly," and their girlfriend's like, "Girl, you're beautiful." And then I guess they believe that. It's like, "Girl, you ain't beautiful." You are not beautiful. Sorry, you are not even mid-range. You're definitely way down on the scale. So maybe you need to calm down, right?
If that's a malicious thing or not right now, because women, oh boy, they like backstabbing each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why, that meme, and it's like women, when you say Lizzo is beautiful and it shows like the dude smiling, and then it's like women when you say they look like Lizzo and the dude looks like he wants to kill you, because that's the whole thing. These women will come out and they'll tell this fat girl, that I mean obese fat,
Yeah,
not a heavy hottie, but actually obese fat, how beautiful she is. But boy, oh boy, don't compare them to her because they will get pissed. So it's kind of like they're booby trapping the other women. Communism wisdom. That's like mixing oil and water at Cal. Yeah, the wisest thing the communists did is reinstate free market capitalism before they all starved to death. Now, one thing that Chinese communists do that I like is if they catch a banker or something, like taking advantage of shit, they just execute them. And I can't help but say, I kind of like that idea. You catch somebody running a Ponzi scheme or insider trading or, just being really corrupt with money, go ahead and shoot
might
them.
be just done because out of necessity, though, than they care.
Well, okay, but we do a lot of shit out of necessity.
True.
It's like I don't go to the bathroom because I care.
No.
I do it because of necessity. So just because something's a necessity does not make it bad. And these, like in America, it's like the richer you are, the more crimes you can get away with.
Yeah.
And it should be, if you're a millionaire, but you do a bunch of shady banking shit and you do a bunch of whatever, your ass gets dealt with ASAP because you're just, destroying the economy. Like the guys that decide to shut down all trading on the GameStop thing, every one of those dudes should have been rounded up.
Oh, definitely.
because they were just protecting the big billionaire investors because the GameStop people had figured out a way to F them over. That was all that was. That was a bunch of normal guys figured out a way to screw over the billionaires that are constantly doing, shady shit.
Trying to fix these short stoppings so they can make a ton of money off of it.
Right. Right. So what happens? Robin Hood shuts down all trading, which shouldn't even be legal,
No,
but it was somehow. Like, yep, our bosses are going to lose too much money, so we're just going to shut everything down because, I remember that whole drama, man.
oh,
And
I do too. There's a good video on that one where it's just like it was like 300 where all those people were buying the stocks and holding it.
yeah, hold.
Hold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, they made them pay though. I think the original guys that had done the short sale lost like $700 billion or some
Oh,
shit.
tons of it. It don't like I think it did bankrupt that company that was doing that.
Yeah, but then they had to protect all their other buddies. But oh my goodness. It's a nice sunny day, which is awesome because it means I can 3D print if I want.
Kind of chilly here, but sunny at least.
Yeah, because my UV box died. So the only way to cure my 3D prints is to leave them out in the sun
Sun.
for like 20 minutes, which you cure them. I mean, if you need to turn them around or whatever, yeah, you'll cure them. Lickety split, man, no problem. Because, just more information about exactly how much radiation is coming off of
Off the sun.
the sun. Yeah. But it's no joke. It is literally cooking your ass alive when you're out there. We got enough UVs down here to literally cure resin. So imagine my pink butt out there. I'd just roast. Like,
Put on some
like,
sunscreen, you'll be fine.
I got no melanins. Seems unfair to me, really. Like I should have some melanins. I don't know why I got ripped off.
Why do you need it?
It's like somebody was like, "No, he's a snowman. He don't need no melanins. He can have like pink skin that burns even when it's cloudy out." Just nature's way of saying I need to live somewhere where it's cloudy all the time and it snows a lot. Right? That's all that is. That's just nature saying, hey, you ain't supposed to be here. This is the tropics. You should not be here. You were not made for this. Take your ass up to some snowy mountain area. You'll be fine there. But yeah. But anyway, doing a little terrain. That's right. Gonna put a bunch of gravestones and crosses and tombs all over this thing here in a minute. Then I'm gonna have to put all the braces on the metal siding and then paint it silver. I'm gonna use pewter. I already did all of the wooden pallets for the floor because
Nice.
What could be worse than fighting demons except maybe Trenchfoot, right? Nobody wants Trenchfoot. I did a video with Hungar for like 40 minutes earlier today.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't live. And we're
Nice.
just talking about like how he wants his Heretic Legion painted up and the different like parts. because I did not pick up the STLs for the Heretic.
The off-grid.
Off-grid's taken off. Well,
Yep.
you have fun being off-grid. Off-grid. Salute to you, sir. Yeah, I didn't print out the Heretic Legion stuff. I didn't buy it. I bought the Trench Pilgrim stuff. But for free, there's people who give away like Heretic stuff, like helmets and guns and stuff. And since I have all of these World War I Russian and German units, it's an easy matter of just throwing like Heretic stuff on the bodies. Hell, this guy right here, who's got a World War I German submachine gun, is that's Acadian, but with a Heretic style helmet and a German MP-18 or whatever they called it.
MP-40. There's
no, this is World War One.
Yeah, MP. Yeah, probably MP-18 then. That'd probably be about right.
And then this guy started out his life as a German cavalryman from World War One, but he's got a British Sten gun, submachine gun, and of course he's got like I don't know if that's a good luck charm or what, the fetus on his belt, and he's got a bunch of grenades and a shovel on his back.
Now Sten was a little bit later. I don't think that was used in World War One, was it?
It was not, but the thing is that
it's so primitive it might as well have been.
Trench War kind of blends. Even though it's 1914, the Roman Catholic Church has a space program, and the heretics have functioning modern submarines.
Oh, fair. And the thing is, the Sten gun is so dirt simple, it could have been made in World War One.
Right. Also, there's what they call the heavy infantry, and they literally are in like giant mech suits.
I mean, all the Sten was basically a tube.
Yeah, it's a tube with a spring in it.
Yep.
like the worst machine gun you could make, but the British were like, oh no.
Cheapest machine gun you could actually make.
Yeah, it was like, we can get that for like 15 pence. Let's get all of them. You know? It's the worst, but we don't have to worry about anything. So
it's like, we can just give this to everybody. Who cares?
And they did.
Yep.
And did.
It's like how the Russians made the Papashkas with the ejection going straight up. It's simpler that way.
Yeah.
They may rain like very hot lead on your soldiers, but who cares about that?
Well, they also made their version of the Lewis gun. In World War II, it was the one that had the big drum on the top.
Yeah. That
started out as the British Lewis gun.
Mm.
And then the Germans were like, meh. Or the Germans, the Russians are like, man, we'll go ahead and take that. And it was like, okay. I mean, do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Here's something though.
They call it the DSHK, whatever.
The Dushka.
Yeah, but all it is a Lewis gun.
Yeah.
If anything, made even more simple than the Lewis gun.
Yeah.
Stamped parts and everything.
What's your favorite historical gun?
Glock 19.
Okay.
I mean, if you were looking for something like actually super historic, like from one of the world wars, I mean, it's going to be a Garand.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the Garand is probably, like Patton said, it was the greatest. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? The DP, yeah. The Garand was the greatest weapon of war ever created.
Yeah. Certainly leagues past anything any other nation was filthy at the time.
Right. Well, see, the Russians, well into the war, towards what you would consider the late war period, they came up with a semi-automatic weapon called the Tokarov something or other.
Hmm.
And it was a box-fed, fully semi-automatic rifle.
Fair.
But it fired the same exact rounds as a Mosin. So, there was no issue with supply chains or anything. But a lot of people never got their hands on the Takarovs.
No.
It was kind of rare.
Well, the Garand was pretty much mass produced at that time.
Yeah. The Tokarov was like something that the Russians created as kind of a catch up. Like they saw the Grand and was like, hey.
The Russia kind of has a weird adoption style because they'll adopt something, like somebody will make something, they'll adopt it, and then pretty much drop it mostly.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. With the Aeon 94, they adopted that, and then it really mattered not because they didn't really feel it.
And then the Germans, of course, built the Gavar 43,
Like there.
which was a semi-automatic Mauser, chambered in 8mm Mauser. And it had horrible issues because over long-term use, the receiver would crack. That was an issue. But they would issue them, the Gavar 43s, they'd issue to snipers. Why? I don't know, but they did. And then, of course, the Stig, which was originally the MP44. And
Oh, you mean the STG 44? Yeah.
Yeah, the Stig, man. STG Stig.
I never heard it called that. That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
Why?
I get it, but it just never heard it that way.
You know why you never heard it called that?
Why?
Because you never played what's it? Battlefield 1942 with a bunch of people on Vent.
Yeah, fair enough.
Back then it was not Vent, it was what was the voice thing called that everyone used? Doesn't matter.
Probably.
But that's where I learned it.
I remember. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I was thinking either that one or there was another one.
TeamSpeak.
Yeah, TeamSpeak.
And people would call it the Stig. And since I played the mod called Forgotten Hope, the Stig was not a weapon you could begin the game with. It was a weapon that you had to, depending on the battle you were fighting in, there would be a supply box somewhere that might have a Stig in it.
See, that's kind of cool. I wish there was.
And there were no snipers either. If you wanted to be a sniper, somewhere on the map would be a supply box with a sniper rifle.
Now that would be kind of cool for a game mode.
Well, what it did is it kept the game from devolving into everyone's a sniper. And plus, the original Battlefield 1942, the base gun of the Germans was the Stig.
Which really doesn't make any sense.
Whereas the base weapon of the Americans was the Garand. Or no, the BAR.
The bar?
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense either.
The Americans was the BAR, right? So it was like, what?
As much as I like the bar, that shouldn't be the base one. And also the SCG should not be the base for the Germans.
So what happened is this company of guys, not a company, but a group of guys, they decided they wanted to make an ultra historic mode. And they made Forgotten Hope. And in Forgotten Hope, if you played an American, you had, the different things you could pick between infantry, this, that, and the other, right?
Yeah.
And if you chose to be an infantryman, you began with a Garand, a couple of rifle grenades, a bayonet, whatever, And they made the game ultra lethal in that if you were using a Garand or a Mauser 98 and you hit an enemy in the center mass, they died, let alone the head.
Yeah.
So the game was super deadly because the weapons were modeled correctly, right?
More correctly, I'd say, yeah.
Then people got mad because if you played the German side, you could choose to play a Panzer Grenadier, right? And if you played a Panzer Grenadier, you started out with a K98K, but you also started out with a Panzerfaust. Not the reloadable one, but the weird,
Yeah.
And a lot of people complained because it meant that if you were rolling around in your tank, basically almost any German soldier could take your ass out. If they could sneak up behind you with that Panzer Shrek, I think.
It was one of the Panzer things like that. I can't remember exactly.
They could take you out. But the creators of the thing were like, but hey, during this period of the war, pretty much they were handing these things out like candy. It's
Because
like
they didn't have tanks, really.
It's
Not
like
many,
if you
at
had
least.
eyeballs and two arms, they were giving you a Panzer Shrek or
Yeah.
Panzerfaust, whichever one.
That's just the thing, though, because Germany did not have many tanks left over.
Well, yeah, but they were still handing out anti-tank weaponry.
Yeah.
Then if you're American, you could play the machine gunner and you got the BAR, which was
Yeah, I'm wondering.
okay if you were standing up, but if you like deployed the bipod and laid down with it, that thing would be accurate like out to 1,000 yards. You'd be killing enemy soldiers halfway across the map. Like if you could see them, you could kill them, And the German machine gunner got, of course, the MG42.
Okay,
The Faust is the single use. Thank you, Jeff. The Germans got the MG42, which was completely useless if you were moving. You couldn't hit anybody 20 feet away from you with that thing if you were moving. But if you deployed the bipod and laid down, that thing was a nightmare for the enemy troops.
Which makes sense. I mean, Browning made some crazy good guns.
And then the other thing they did is instead of the normal put the axe on the target and push the button to hit, if you jumped into a tank, it had the correct targeting reticle of that tank.
That's good. That's really cool.
So if you somehow ever managed to get into a Tiger and you were in the gunner's position, because a tank could have a gunner and a driver.
Yep.
You get into the gunner's position and you zoom in, which means you're going to try to shoot it.
There's more than those two positions usually in a tank crew.
Right. It would have, well, there was no reason to put the loader and the radio man in, but it would have the correct firing reticle of that tank, the historically correct one, right? So it made it so much more like,
yeah, man, the MG42, that's another good one.
Realistic. Yeah, well, the 42, they basically put a retarder on to lower the rate of fire because they found that they were causing tons of no, I'm talking about Battlefield 1942. There was a big mod for it way back in the day called Forgotten Hope, and it was the ultra realistic mod. So if you were playing a British soldier in one of the battles where it was Britain versus Germany, like in North Africa, your character would start with an infield, a bayonet, a couple of grenades, and every weapon was accurate and deadly as hell. Like if you went to fire that infield at somebody 100 yards away, there was like no drop. You know what I mean? So you just aim, but there was no X's either. You had to aim down the barrel, and actually target the guy and pow, and the right. But if you were pretty good at aiming these weapons in game, you hit somebody, they died. They, You got a nail appointment?
Yeah, and by the way, Puppy probably needs out because I've had back-to-back meetings at Look Word.
Yeah, I took him out right before I started this.
All right, stay
But I'll take him out as soon as I'm done.
Awesome, yeah. Don't steal my Mexican. I'm still.
Don't steal your Mexican.
The Mexican food.
I'm not going to steal your Mexican food until tomorrow. If it's in there tomorrow, then I'll steal it.
It's fair game.
Yeah, it's fair game. Less DACA? Yeah, you need more DACA, right? And that was the MG42 in Forgotten Hope. You put the bipod down, or if you had a teammate with you, you could put the tripod down. And that thing with the bipod or the tripod, you could kill soldiers 1,000 yards away. It's like you'd see a little dot running across your screen and just sight down it and be like, "Blah," and they just die. You know, sniper rifles didn't have crazy arc drop. You know, if you had like the Springfield or the German Gewehr or whatever with the scope, and you were scoping at somebody a couple hundred yards away, you put the X on their center mass and say, pow, they died. Because, yeah, in real life,
That's how it is.
that's how it is.
That's
And the
close
guys who
range
made
for a
that
sniper,
game,
really?
They wanted it to be as much like real life as possible.
Probably why games don't
I
do
think
it
they
that way.
were
though.
British
It's-
guys,
I
honestly.
mean, for a
I
lot of
think it was
FPS, is
British.
how close are those games usually? They're usually pretty close for a combat scenario, I guess you could say.
Well, after that, the battlefields gradually got worse. Like,
Yeah,
I played Battlefield 3. I become ranked in the top 100 as a medic. I played Battlefield 4. I got ranked very high as a medic. Well, assault marine, but basically as a medic. Because that's how you get your points is you run up and you defibrillate everybody laying on the ground and you throw down healing packs. And then if you kill people, that's good too, but whatever, you know, you're getting so many points by getting people back up or healing them that it's like super easy to become ranked as an assault guy. But I remember trying to shoot somebody when I realized those games sucked. I had like a SVD and I was trying to shoot somebody. They were like 200 yards away. I put the X on their head and I saw the round hit like 50 yards in front of them. And I was like, what the, you know, and it was like they added so much bullet drop to different weapons that it was like you could be 50 yards away from somebody. And if you didn't aim like up and over and all this bullshit, you'd never hit them.
Yep.
And I hated that because it's like, nah, if I put the X on you and you're within 100 yards, you're done. Nope. Wrong thing. Right thing. Oh, man. For some reason, when I came in here this morning, I did not turn the fan on. And unless my wife is running the heater, I started being like, medicing in a foxhole.
No, he's talking about a game called Foxo.
Oh, got carry wounded men around, mad hero stuff. That's cool. Yeah, every single Battlefield game, whether it was Battlefield, Vietnam, or whatever, you just always take the assault kit and as soon as you can get the defibrillator and the healing pack, the good one. And all you do is you look to see where the most people are fighting.
But James,
and you just run there and start picking your guys up and throwing healing packs.
James, you got to make sure it's for the wound is for the little pack or the big pack, or it's medical malpractice.
Right. Well, no, you throw the big pack down because everyone
Always
like
a big
so
pack.
many yards of it healed.
I know. I'm making a joke. There was this thing called Battlefield Friends, and Neves is like,
Oh, I've seen Battlefield Friends.
yeah, he's like, is this a little pack problem or a big pack problem? And it's like, always big pack problem.
Yeah, always the big pack. Yeah, the one guy, rank 100. I got a poop bucket. Yeah, you can actually get an unlock by
Yeah.
killing somebody with a defibrillator. I think
Yep.
you got to kill 10 people. But if you kill 10 people with the defibrillator, it unlocks like a gun or something. I remember doing that. It's not
Thanks.
easy.
I got the bipod for my knife now.
But yeah, my kit was the ACE something 11. It's a Brazilian assault rifle, but it's basically just a Galil.
Oh, hey, I was playing that.
And I carried a Glock 19, the fully automatic one, on my hip, and then I had the defibrillator and the med kit.
I just
And
played a
that
game.
would basically be that,
I was just playing a game where I was playing as Brazil.
playing as Brazil. Yeah, and I don't even know if the Brazilians use that weapon or if it was like, because in those games they add all these prototypes and
Yeah.
it
Might have been an experimental weapon and not really a real one.
Yeah, like in one of the games, I forget which version it was, like you could equip the German that
HK-11?
crazy space gun that
Yeah, the HK-11.
was supposed to fire caseless rounds and shit.
It did. It existed. It's just that there weren't many made. They were prototypes.
Yeah, so you could play the game with that, and it sucked.
Not fair.
Now in Battlefield, a rifle that I learned to love, Al Ahai snack bar. Your way through the Metro, defibbing people. Like, yeah, Metro was either, depending on who you talk about, Metro was the greatest or worst thing to ever happen in
I don't know.
any
I don't know
version
much
of
about it.
Battlefield.
Oh, that map. Okay, yeah, but I've
The
never
map.
played Battlefield. Really.
Because with Metro, the map was so small, there were so many choke points that it was
Yeah.
just like,
It's just people going down, and you just like keep bringing them up and firing, and it's just like a big mess of chaos.
like if you were on the one end and you didn't make it up stairs in the metro station in time, you never would, unless the air team just sucked. Because all they had to do is have a heavy throw down an ammo box, and then have like 5 guys upstairs spamming hand grenades. And it's like, there's just nothing you can do about it,
Yeah.
except have the guys who have 203s equipped spam freaking
Rocket launchers.
no, the 203s, the grenade launcher. Have those guys spamming the grenade launcher back up. And then you just sit there and every now and then there's a push, but
usually it's just the stall at that point.
Yep. And if I was on the bottom side, I would just hang out near the front escalators, throwing med packs down and picking people up. And I would end the game as number 1 or 2 every time. When it was for points and shit, I was number 1 or 2 every game in Metro, because that's how Metro be, man.
Oh, yep.
Metro be. You always got these idiots that are on the Metro map running around with sniper rifles. And it's like, I don't think you understand where you are, son. This is Metro. People are going to be in your face, from the get-go, step.
Maybe they think they could get those quick scopes out, like in Call of Duty.
I don't know what they're thinking, but now I will say one rifle that was good in Metro, though, was the G3. You take the G3 and you put an ACOG on that thing, or the ×3 scope. And even though it's an infantry weapon, you could snipe people halfway. Like if you were down the tunnel in one of the Metro cars, you could snipe enemy soldiers at the other end of the map almost with that G3. And because of the damage rating of the G3, it was like a good hit to the body. They're dead,
Need to think about this because
a lot of whiny babies whined about the G3. And it was like, get out of here, you whiny babies.
Okay,
they made some weapons way better than they ever should have been, like the FAMAS 2000.
Yeah.
It was like, first off, that's a French weapon,
Yep.
so you know it sucks. And secondly, it sucks. So I don't understand. You know, why is this even in here? But anyway, the weapon I love to use and I could use as an assault guy was the VZZ,
Venturas? Or is
the
that something else?
one that fired 9mm subsonic rounds.
I think that was the Venturas, yeah.
Yeah, the Ventura. Yeah, because it was silenced, and that meant when you
Yep.
fired it, you
It's-
didn't show up on the map.
Yep.
So if you
You
could
were
get a good place,
really
crawl
quiet.
into a pretty good place, you could just wipe people out with that thing. Blah, blah. In Metro, you know.
Yep.
And if they ran up on you, you could still just spray them, you know. So whatever, man. There's an American company that makes those, but they are always sold out. Like every time.
It's probably really hard and expensive to get that.
Every time I go there and I'm like, they're in Texas. And I'm like, okay, do they got any of these Venturis for sale? And the
especially
answer
if it's
is always no, they do not.
Especially if it is actually integrally suppressed still, because then you'd have to get the tax stamp and everything.
You can get them that way, but you got to get the tax stamp, which I would not do.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how much it costs for those 9mm longs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's like 9x40 or something.
Oof.
It's weird, you know? Yeah, the Vow. I love the Vow in Battlefield 3 and 4. That thing was, you had to do some shit to unlock it, but it was worth it. You know what I mean? Once you got that thing unlocked, it was like,
that is a pretty cool gun, and be cool to have in real life if you could.
Well, and like I said, because it was suppressed, it didn't give your position away whenever you fired it. And that ended up being a big deal in Metro.
Yep.
Because if you shoot somebody and your dot shows up, I mean, forget about it, you know. Everybody within anywhere on the map is after your ass right at that point. You know?
It's after you there.
Whereas you got something suppressed, you can be a little sneaky. Hide in the bushes and maybe take some people out. The worst part of Metro is if you're playing the Russian side and you got pushed out of the Metro station and you were back at your home base and the enemy team had control of the buildings above the street. So, of course, they would all just immediately equip like LMGs and freaking sniper rifles or whatever, MMGs.
And now it's a turkey shoot.
And then it's a turkey shoot. You're standing there in your own deployment zone just getting capped. You know?
That is an issue with the game I play. That happens a lot.
What game?
War Thunder. That happens quite a bit, actually, where they'll just push you back to your spawn and then you're just like sitting there, not able to do anything.
Yep.
Though I've had one really interesting thing happen.
What?
One game, this was like top tier. I decided to bring out an M22, little locust tank, and was able to kill a leopard with it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very difficult because, how well do you think I'm going to pin a modern tank with like this little scout tank for like paratroopers?
Well, I mean, you know.
I found the perfect spot, and it was like in the engine compartment. Apparently, I could pin it from the back.
Just keep it from being able to go anywhere?
No, I did finally kill it. It just took a while and a lot of ammunition.
Yeah.
Slow burn.
I've never played War Thunder. I tried World of Tanks and didn't like it. And then I played World of Warships and loved it.
World of Warships was fun, yeah.
I think I looked up my thing on World of Warships, and yeah, the ammo for a Val's got to be crazy because it's a 9 by whatever subsonic round.
It's not a normal 9mm because everything has to be different.
Yeah, this ain't like a 9x19 or whatever. The
Not a
Luger is.
9x19 Parabellum. It's not the 9x18.
It's 9 by like 39.
It's not the 9x18 Makarov round. It's not that one. It's not this one.
Nope.
Yeah. There's so many different ammo types. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, but that was specifically designed for that specific weapon.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it wasn't like they were just doing a thing. They were.
It's like the 5.7, although that was more that FN wanted to try to get the NATO to adopt it so they could be the sole proprietor of it.
The 5.7?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one the pistol uses?
The pistol and the SMG.
All right. Hans Gruber. Let's see. It's got does it got my stats? I wonder. Okay, here we go. In random battles, I've played 1,800 battles. I've got only a 42.75% victory rate, but I average 5 ships destroyed per game. And then if it'll let me pick the actual ship, let's see. We're okay. There we go. It's showing it.
I gotta go. I see ya. Time for dinner.
Sounds like somebody's shooting at Lett's house.
No, just time for dinner.
Oh, okay.
I'll see ya.
See ya. Here's my boy right here. The Odin. Yeah, love me some Odin. My KD is insane with that thing. The Scharnhorst. Actually, what ship did I play that I got the most kills with in World of Warships? Let's see. I've killed 584 enemy warships, mostly with the main guns. My average damage is 14,000, or is that no 144,000? No, it's 14,000. I'm reading it wrong. Ship spotted. Spotting damage, potential damage is 573. So that means a lot of my rounds bounced. Let's see. Victories, defeats, draws, survived, contribution, damage. Total damage 29 million. Okay. Do I got a KD ratio here though? What's my KD ratio? I thought that'd be on here. My best tier is tier 8. And the number one, most of my kills are done by a cruiser. So I wonder what tier 8 cruiser I was using. That's got me. Is it the Kutuzov? Yeah, it looks like the Kutuzov. And the Kutuzov, I've got a 2-to-1 KD ratio with that thing. I don't even remember anything about it. But yeah, there it is. 125 battles played. 32 warships destroyed. So how did I get all those points? I don't know. But yeah, the ammo would be ridiculous. Maybe I need to download World of Warships again. It's like about once a year or so I download it and play it for a month, and then I, uninstall it and don't mess with it for like a year or so, 6 months. It's just, however I'm feeling at the time, But my number one ship apparently is the cruiser Kutuzov. So protected by all of that extremely wonderful stellinium. And as we all know, nothing can get through stellinium armor. Okay, putting some boards up on this terrain piece. Just act like it's holding the dirt back. Got my hot glue gun out. I'm not wearing my apron because the shirt I'm wearing I've already ruined with hot glue and super glue. So believe me, my wife was not happy. But I said, listen here, wife. I bought this with my money. So don't worry about it. And that didn't work. So she went out and bought me an apron. She's like, if you're going to paint or use a lot of glue and you're going to wear your good shirts and whatever, wear the apron. And you guys have seen me wearing the apron. So there you go. All right. So this is what we're doing. I've decided to do the stairs in this trench out of sandbags. Maybe not the most efficient use of sandbags, to be brutally honest. But I can always print up some more. So, hey, what's up, Agrin?
Hello, I'm back.
I see that. Hello.
So,
Is it
what are
me?
we discussing?
I was talking about playing World of Warships and how apparently my best ship is a Soviet cruiser.
Yesterday, a guy was saying that World of Warships players are gay. Yeah,
Well, it's not installed, so I guess I dodged that one, right? But I used to play the hell out of it.
damn.
And you should be okay with that, right? I mean, I don't know, actually. Let me ask you. I don't know what your system of belief is, but is homosexuality okay in Hindu religion or no? I
I'm
mean,
not
I
sure
know
about
what it's like with Islam. Islam's like not a big fan.
I'm not sure about the religion, but it is not accepted in the society.
Okay, so just for societal reasons then.
Yeah,
All right. That's how it is
I
in
think,
my mother Russia. It's not illegal, you just don't want to tell a bunch of people about it.
yeah, it is legal actually.
Yeah, in Russia it's legal. You can be as gay as you want, but you don't want to run around telling everybody because
Yeah,
they will treat you away. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it won't be good. But World of Warship players are gay. You. No, that's
yeah.
World of or no, what is it? It's what Left plays all the time. The
World of
other
Tanks,
version of World of Warships.
World of Tanks.
No, it's another company. A Russian company, but it's like it's not Gaijin, I think. I think it's another company, or is it Gaijin? Either way, it's the other Russian company.
Mm,
You can play like tanks and airplanes and
War Thunder.
War Thunder. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Let's baby, and of course he's always wanting to play Japanese equipment because for some reason I don't know why he thinks Japanese World War II equipment was good. It was not, but he likes it. So what are you gonna do? So what are you studying today?
Maths.
Math. Well, I mean,
To be specific.
it is the key to the universe.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to assume probably not basic math. So,
I mean, I'm still a student, so it's pretty basic.
okay. Well, I don't know. Like when I was your age, our school, we had like calculus, trigonometry. Yeah, Mucktuck. Leth is the king of the weebs. He knows it. I know it. We all know it. He's my buddy, but he's always constantly talking about wanting to get his hands on a Japanese World War II rifle or Japanese tanks. And it's like, those things sucked. Like, even the Japanese soldiers that used them knew they were terrible. But, some people, right?
I mean, it was good for torturing the Chinese.
Yeah. I was reading on a military thing online that I guess a couple years back, your country made a new MBT battle tank, and it's actually really good.
I don't know about it.
I'd have to look it up. But yeah, India made a new battle tank, and they're saying it's basically pretty much the equivalent of the M1 as far as armor and everything like that. So I guess
We
cool.
basically sold some weapons to Armenia during the war, and they were like, nah, this is not good. So that was embarrassing.
Yeah, I think the war in Armenia is over, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan won.
Yeah. Yeah. We got one of your guys was listed as one of the top 10 most badass people of all time. Was an Indian soldier that like climbed a cliff and beat a bunch of Pakistani guys to death with a rock.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
He got shot like a bunch of times, and
yeah, it
he
was in
won some
1999.
medal that you're not supposed to win because it's supposed to be like impossible to win it.
Yeah.
But he won it. He's like, geez. That dude was upset about something.
And also the Sikh unit, 21 versus 10,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that movie.
Yeah.
On our Netflix, they have some Indian films you can watch. And they have the one about the Sikhs against the hill tribes or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Which
they were
I
fighting for the
like
Britishers though.
Afghans or whatever. And yep. Fought to the end. Well, the Sikh always were badasses.
Yeah.
That's kind of their thing. They're kind of like, we're going to be badasses. The man who saved my mom when she was very sick was a Sikh doctor.
Yeah, you told me earlier.
Yeah, he had. Now he was already a doctor, but he was working at University of Kentucky. And yep, he had the dagger and the the turban and the whole nine. But he came in and removed the cancer and everything. And nice guy, nice guy. I mean, you don't really expect to see people from all the different ethnicities in the middle of like backwoods Kentucky. So I don't know what brought him there. Somebody must have been like, look, if you come to Kentucky and you work as a doctor, we'll pay you $1 billion or something.
Mm.
But somehow or another, that's where he found himself. Rural ass Kentucky. Pulling tumors out of hillbillies. But thank goodness, because yeah, he saved her for sure. But yeah, if I remember, you said you were like 15, but you're a student and you're also working on some business things you'd like to get done.
Yeah, I run a business.
Yeah, yeah. See, that is like so motivated. Like most American 15-year-olds, they're on TikTok making stupid
Yeah.
videos or something. You know, like I raised two daughters, and you know, I love them to death, but you know, they're grown now though, thankfully. They got married and moved on. But they were a handful when they were young. They weren't, you know, very good students.
Mm.
But I couldn't blame them because you know what? I sucked as a student. I was the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would have been very hypocritical for me to be really mad because uh, they did my IQ test and I did my SATs and everything, and I scored very high. But something in my temperament was like very rebellious, and I just did not want to be in school. I wanted to be out in the woods running around, you know, doing whatever, right? And eventually I skipped school one time for like a month, and they caught me because of
Damn.
course they're going to catch you. I mean, you know, you're like 14. But I skipped school for a month, and just every day I'd tell my parents, liar that I was back then, that I was going to school, but instead I would go up into the hills and hide out in the trees. And then I'd spend all day fishing, making handmade bow and arrows, you know, stuff like that. And just like making shelters. And, you know, it was like, maybe I was just born in the wrong century, you know,
Yeah.
because I didn't want anything to do with the modern life. I wanted to live in the woods, man. And that's what, of course, you know, we got coyotes and stuff. Probably be different if I was over there because
What's coyote?
it's like a wild dog, kind
Oh.
of like a jackal.
Hmm.
So kind of a wild dog. But what we don't have in eastern Kentucky is tigers, sloth bears, sun bears. So, I mean, if you want to run around the woods by yourself all the time, it's completely okay. You know, you're
Yeah.
probably not going to get ate by a tiger. But, you know, you might get ate by, you know, some clan of freaking devil worshiping weirdos, though. Hey, Jose, how you doing? I hope weather's great down there in Central America. I hope you're feeling better today.
I had a business meeting with a Mexican guy today.
Oh, yeah?
So before our meeting, he basically just texted me and thought I was American. Okay. and he told me that he was basically ranting about Americans sending the immigrants back. He was telling me how that they are bigots and racists. So I was like, man, I'm not American. Don't tell me.
No, no one's been bigoted or racist. They're sending back. Well, okay, it's weird. The rule is if you're a criminal, like you committed murder or rape or something, they're going to hunt you down, catch you, send you back to wherever you came from, right? But
Yeah,
if they go into your apartment and there's other people that are in the country illegally, then everybody goes, right?
mm,
So, but the thing that first off, I have an uncle that lives in Saltillo, Mexico. That is one of the hardest countries on the planet to get citizenship to. And if you just sneak across the border into Mexico and they catch you, they'll throw you in prison or something, right? But
yeah,
they expect us to be like super open to them. But
yeah.
they don't return the freaking courtesy. And that is a problem with a lot of countries. Now, Jose's from Costa Rica, which is
Mm,
Central America. But that is a big problem with the way our immigration works is Americans, by and large, typically, like every American I know, they're not necessarily against immigration. Let's say you got older, you wanted to become an immigrant, you went, you did your paperwork, whatever, and you got approved. You come to America, no one's going to treat you bad. Like
yeah,
absolutely no one will treat you bad. You'll become an American
Hello.
citizen. But if you sneak in across the border, don't tell anybody, and you're involved in, sex trafficking and drug trafficking, guess what? We're not going to be happy with that.
I
And
mean,
that's
that
the
makes
thing.
sense.
That's the thing. But people want to act like it's somehow a race thing. Do you know that, like, in the world right now, there's 40 million slaves, and most of them are sex slaves. And
Oh,
they come
damn.
across, some of them come across our southern border constantly, right?
Mm,
But then you've got these people who act like we shouldn't do anything about it or that somehow it's racist to do something about it. And it's like, no, it has to be stopped. You can't have people, and it happens all the time, like where some kid will be sent to cross the border, and I mean like a 10-year-old,
mm,
and they'll go through the process like under Biden, and then Biden will let them out, supposedly in the care of an uncle or some shit, and you'll never see them again. The kid gone. And it's like, where did this kid go? And sometimes you find them being used as like sex workers or slave labor in like these factories and shit like this. And so, no, no, no. I wouldn't say Americans are bigoted like that. I mean, I'm not bigoted. My next door neighbor's a black guy married to a white chick. He's ex-army, I'm ex-army, so we talk shit all the time.
I can certify that, James.
My Hungar's
Yeah,
children are all mixed race,
yeah, yeah.
and he's
damn.
my brother. That means I have nieces that are half white, half black.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
no, but some
There are.
people, especially if you're on the left side of politics in America, their first thing they always do every time they don't like something you want to do is they call you a racist.
Yeah.
yeah,
There is one topic that I think that is key is that when you enter a house, you enter through the door, not through the window. Basically, it is
yeah,
like you're invited, you go in, you're welcomed by the people inside that house instead of trying to sneak in into that. So basically, that's one minimal courtesy when you visit someone. Okay, it could be in a house, could be in a country. When I went to United States in 2016, well, I went as a tourist, and basically I was willing to obey the law and to be good, trying to respect the local customs, and basically think that I am not in my house but in the other people's house. So basically, show some respect for the nation, for the culture, and basically learn from them too, because there is something to learn always. So this is my perspective. For example, if you ask me if I should go illegal, no, I prefer not to. If I do something, it should be the legal way, so that I do not have to worry about anything. Okay, and that way you will be welcomed by people, and basically that's the thing. Okay.
Yeah. And what happens, and this is, see, getting rid of some of these people is actually going to help some of the other ones, because the gang members that come to America, they will force the other migrants to do crimes and stuff. Or else they'll say, if you don't do these crimes and stuff for us, we'll kill you or someone you love. And so you end up with a bunch of people, especially in New York, doing criminal stuff, but they don't want to. They're forced to, because the gang members said do it or else. And that's, again, that's not cool. That's not how we roll. Which Costa Rica is one of the top 10 places people from America retire to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, but apparently Americans love Costa Rica.
Yeah, it is a place that in a small territory, it has lots of different weather. So you can visit many landscapes, like from mountains to the coast. I prefer not to use the word that I can confuse in the pronunciation, the coast,
Right.
because I can say some profane word unintentionally by pronouncing
Sure.
that bad. Yeah. So basically, you have this difference of landscapes, of weather, of places you can visit in a with in a very little time. Like, for example, you have a week on vacation, you can be in a museum, you can be in the mountains, you can be in the coast. So basically, different kind of you can meet even different cultures, because, for example, the main culture in the central area where the capital is not the same as the culture in the Pacific or in the Caribbean. For example, in the Caribbean, you have Limon, and this is a place where you have lots of black people, and they are good people. They have their own customs, their own cuisine, and it is even good for gastronomic tourism, for example.
Nice.
So it's interesting. Yeah, and then you have the people in the other side of the country, and they have a very different culture too. So it's interesting. A small place, lots of cultures, lots of landscapes, and many places to visit in a short time. So
I don't know if you did, but you would probably love going to New Orleans.
really,
In
what?
New Orleans, that is probably the city in America with the most different cultures, because you have French Cajuns, you have Caribbeans that speak French called Creole, then you have Africans, Caribbeans, white guys from France and England, and it's all just mixed up. And so that's where you get like gumbo and jambalaya and crawfish boils, and they play like jazz music and Dixieland, and like it's nuts. I've been there a couple of times as a tourist. It's like no place in America, because it is just like, well, before the flood, I don't know how it is now, but before the big flood that hit them, it was just party time all the time. You know what I mean? You go to
Interesting.
Mardi Gras and it's just like, you know, drinking in the streets and, you know, marching bands playing jazz music and Dixieland and whatever, and going to a restaurant or a pub and there's like 5 different kinds of food, especially like seafood. So like go in and eat a ton of oysters or something if that's your kick, or crawfish or shrimp, Creole shrimp with rice, you know. Just yeah, New Orleans is nuts. It is absolutely just a free for all for whatever, you know.
Indeed, I
It can be
consider
dangerous though, so you know you want to make sure you're in a group.
United States as 50 countries, not 50 states. It
Well, you
is
know, 50 countries is one way to look at, but other people have broken it down to like 12 countries.
12.
And it's
Oh,
like the Midwest, the Deep South, Appalachia, New England, and then you've got that part of the Midwest where they eat like rotten fish and they're all Vikings. And then you've got the Southwest. Texas is its own thing. You know, so yeah, they're like if you actually look at accents and language and dialects and stuff, the United States is multiple countries because like I speak as good as I speak because I spent quite a few years in the army. And you know, when you're around different people from all over the place, you know, accents go away and you just start speaking kind of like I do, a monotone kind of way, right?
an
But
average accent.
right.
No.
But when I was growing up in Kentucky, you wouldn't have understood me if we were talking. And I would have used words that you would have been like, is that even English? And the answer would have been like, probably not, you know, because we had a lot of Cherokee Indians that visited around that region, you know, that between Kentucky, West Virginia, and North Carolina area.
Yeah.
And like, and I've told you about the monsters that we believe in. Like, there's
Yeah.
a giant cat that some people believe in, uh, that they say will kill and eat you. It's called a wampus cat.
Mm.
And they say if you hear a wampus cat scream and it sounds like a woman screaming, the louder it is, the further away it is. So the quieter it is, the closer it is. And sometimes they say it has 6 legs. And the old Cherokee chiefs say the wampus cat used to be a Cherokee woman who snuck in to observe a ritual the Cherokee warriors were doing, and she wasn't supposed to. And the shaman cursed her, and she become a wampus cat. And, you know, so that's a thing that the Cherokee said, and they were there long before, you know, a lot of the white settlers were. And the white settlers took the wampus cat, and anything that's crooked, like a picture frame or something, we would say it's cattywampus. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like a word that you won't hear probably anywhere else except Appalachia. Cattywampus. Or if your drain is plugged up, we would say it's gommed up. Gom, which just
Damn.
means clogged. It's gommed. If it's really windy out, we would say it's airish. Like air
Yeah.
ish. Like why? I don't know why, you know? And we call valleys hollers. And yeah. And everyone's friendly until they're not. Like there's still a lot of feuds there where, you know, people want to kill each other over something that happened, you know, 40 years ago. Yeah, that's still a thing. You know, a lot of the stereotypes you hear about hillbillies, I'm here to tell you a lot of them are true. You know what I mean? Like about being like really like standoffish and holding grudges and believing in weird stuff and witchcraft and all that. Yeah, a lot of that shit is true, I'm afraid to say. Like we even got our own witch up there. Um, what was her name? The Bell Witch? I think it's the Bell Witch. Yeah. She cursed the whole mountainside. And they said that if you grew anything on that mountainside and ate it, you'd die. You
Damn.
know? Yep, that's I think that's not in Harlan County, but it's right next to it. But yep. Apparently there was some evil spirit there. This is the Cherokee said there was an evil spirit there. And they said no one should ever go there or whatever. And so some people say the Bell Witch was actually good because she was keeping whatever the evil spirit is like contained, you know?
Mm,
But then other people say that she actually was a servant of the evil spirit.
mm. We actually have a similar belief, but in a good way. Do you know about the second largest peak in the world?
You do?
I'm asking, do you know about it? The second largest mountain?
I only know about like is it in Tibet
No,
or is it Costa Rica?
it's in India.
Oh, okay.
The
The
second largest,
second
yeah,
largest peak, because I know the Himalayas are big,
yeah,
like so big that you need to wear oxygen if you want to go up them.
yeah. So I was actually near the Himalayas,
Oh, nice.
and we have a belief there that the second largest mountain, it is called Mount Kailash. So in Hinduism, our god is Kailash, and basically no one can climb that mountain because it's a belief,
I think I've heard about that mountain.
and actually no one has ever climbed it.
Yeah, I think I saw something on YouTube that said people who tried to climb it aged super fast and died
Yeah,
because of like whether the gods live there or spirits or whatever the hell it is. Uh, yeah, the biggest mountain in Kentucky is Black Mountain, which is near to North Carolina, and it's only a little over 4,000 feet above sea level. So it's nothing compared to like, the
yeah,
Himalayas or anything. It's a baby mountain. But the Appalachia is very old and the Himalayas are very young. And that's why the
yeah,
Himalayan mountains are so jagged and tall, and the Appalachian mountains are so rounded and shorter because they've been around for billions of years and, they've just eroded.
Here in Costa Rica, we do not have any tall of the tallest mountains, but we have a special mountain called Chiripo. Basically, you need to leave your car and then start walking like 8 hours, going uphill, and then you reach a camp, and then you keep on walking some more time, and at the peak, if you're lucky and you have clear skies, you are going to see both oceans, the Pacific and the Caribbean.
Nice.
damn.
Yeah, and basically you would see planes flying at your altitude too.
You're so
How tall is it?
high up, you can see
Yeah,
planes
it is
flying.
like 4 kilometers from the sea level, so
Oh, damn.
it is like 3 miles, no less than
That's
3 miles.
that's more than 3 times bigger than Black Mountain.
Yeah, so basically it is tall. The curious thing is that you do not see the peak until the last 200 meters because you start
Because of the
climbing and
noise.
walking and you say, where is the peak, where is the peak, where is the peak, and you do not see it. So basically it also is a test of willpower, because you start walking and you do not see the result of your walking, and basically you see jungle and jungle and jungle, and of course the road, of course, that where you walk, and basically you do not see the final prize until the very end. So it is very interesting as a psychological exercise. Many tourists have been returned because they were discouraged by that, because it's lots of hours.
Damn.
I don't know. I might be returned from a heart attack.
Mm. Mount Kailash is like 53 kilometers
Jeez.
from.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about because Jose has been to India.
Oh, where?
No, I haven't. In
Oh, I
India?
thought you said you went.
No, I went to Chiripó in
Oh,
Costa Rica.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Sorry, my bad. My bad. My mistake.
Don't worry, don't worry. I think that India would be an interesting place to know to
Um,
visit.
it is.
yeah, I think it would be cool to go and see like the things that are. The thing is, because I'm an American, we don't have anything old. Like our oldest buildings are a couple hundred years. So,
Yeah.
like when I was in Germany, right? I was in Frankfurt, and it was like so crazy because the inner city part of Frankfurt is like hundreds of years old, like thousand maybe, who knows, right? And so going to other countries that are super old is like amazing to me. Now, before the war kicked off, my wife and I were planning a trip to Russia, but then everybody decided to start shooting at each other, so that'll have to wait. I would also love to go to Greece. Um, I don't know. If I went to India, I would probably want to visit the Punjab state
Why?
because I think that's where the Sikh mostly are, and I'm like hugely a fan of the Sikh.
Hmm.
Like
Interesting.
their culture and how brave they are in battle and stuff. It's like I don't know. I just really as an ex-soldier, I just respect that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, I
There's a
mean, they
village in
got
India.
shrines and stuff up there that are literally like 3,000-4,000 years old.
Yeah, there are.
I recall a story of a Costa Rican. It was a Costa Rican lady who went to India. It was many years before the internet. It was like in the 70s, 1970s. And basically, she
Yeah.
went to India, and she was walking in the street, and then a snake enchanter started to stare at her, and she started to feel uncomfortable. And as she walked and approached, then the guy said, "Hey, are you from Costa Rica too?"
Uh,
Damn.
So it was like she goes to India to meet a Costa Rican. Imagine that.
We
well,
have a
I
village in
mean,
India.
No,
what you say? Agree?
I'm saying that we have a village in India. It's like in the southern part. So in that village, the most like 90% of the people are descendants of Arabian people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because weren't the Mughals Arabs,
No, like actually, there are two
or were they
theories about it.
Mongolians?
The first one is that you know about Alexander, right? The Great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the first
Alexander.
theory is that when he reached the brink of India, like the border of India,
Right.
and he retreated from there, right?
Yeah, he went down the Ganges River and then he went
He went
across
down to
the
the
desert.
Indus River, not the Gangas. It was the Indus
The
River.
Indus. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for correcting me. Yeah, I know he got there and he went to war with monkeys until somebody explained to him that monkeys were monkeys because he thought they were furry little men.
No, no, no. He was actually he was fighting elephants, so his
Well, I
like
know he
that's
had to
what
fight
happened.
elephants too, but at first he was fighting monkeys because monkeys were in the trees throwing stuff at him and he thought they were hairy little men.
Yeah, that could be
And then
possible.
finally, an Indian guy told him, no, those are not hairy little men. They're just monkeys.
Animals.
Yeah.
So the first theory is that some people from Alexander's army went inside India and just stayed in that village for years.
So they're basically still kind of related to Alexander the Great, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's in their DNA,
That is
probably.
pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah,
So you got Macedonians, kind of, sort of, all the way
yeah,
over there.
exactly.
Well,
And the second theory is that some people, like before the Mughals and all, in some BC,
yeah.
came from Middle East and they just settled there. Since in that village, people wear the clothes which are usually worn in the Middle East.
Huh.
So that's the second theory.
Yeah, what's crazy is I've seen on videos, they were showing this place in India that's way up in the mountains,
Yeah.
but all the women looked Chinese.
Huh. Wait. I think you got it wrong. The whole Northeast India looks Chinese.
It was like the women looked Asian, but they were in India.
The no, the whole like Northeast India is looks Asian. You don't know?
No, I didn't know that. I mean,
Yeah.
I've only
Like
been to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Honduras, and America.
yeah. So basically, in Northeast India, there are like 50 or 100 million people who look like Asians.
Huh. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I saw that on the YouTube, I was like, that's wild. Never knew that. Didn't even never crossed my mind that that would be a thing. But there you go.
I have a question for you. Uh, do people in India play BattleTech?
Play what?
I BattleTech. It is a board game. James and me are very fans of that board game. So I just wonder
Uh,
if there are people playing there.
are you talking about Karam?
What is
Wait,
Karam?
uh, just tell me the spelling of what you are saying. We might have a local word for it. You
Yeah.
can you can type in the private chat.
Okay. Okay. Let me check the private chat.
Yeah, Battletech is mostly a board game where you control like these 30-foot tall robots and you fight each other. Well, they're not robots since they have a pilot, but you know what I mean.
I've never heard about it, to be honest.
Ah,
Paddle tech, yeah,
yeah.
never heard
Since
about
I
it.
mostly talk about games here, have you ever like heard of Dungeons and Dragons?
I haven't. I mean, from you, I have.
Yeah, but so
Hmm.
so the question I guess on my mind is like, do you guys have like board games and stuff that you like to play? Like,
Yeah, we have.
or
I mean,
what?
we have chess, of course.
Chess, yeah, that's a good one. That's
and
probably the best
uh,
one of all time.
we have one. It's in the chat. I'm not sure how you guys pronounce it.
Hmm. Is it like a game that you
Carrom?
would know about in America?
I don't think so.
Ah, right,
It is pronounced carom, but it depends on the accent, of course.
right. Carolyn. So, yeah. Well,
Oh, it
D&D
is.
is basically a game where you pretend to be something you're not, and somebody tells you like about like a fantasy world or something, and
Role
then
play.
you say what your character would do.
Mm,
There is a guy that makes a game called Arrows of Indra,
never
and
heard of it.
that one it's where you play a person like back into like a long time ago in India.
Indra is actually a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you know
uh,
about Juice? You
go,
can continue.
go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry.
Okay. Do you know about Kingdom Come Deliverance?
I do.
KCD. Have you played it?
I have not.
Okay.
Battletech is basically like, I would say that it is like some sort of chess, but it uses many tables,
Yeah.
and also it uses some math. So it is very interesting because, and you basically, the pieces are combat robots, giant robots. So basically, it gives a different feeling to a chess-like game. So this is what I like about the game, and also,
Mm.
well, you can play role playing. So basically, you can add characters and you can add adventures, and basically, people start to describe what their characters do and that. And when there is a combat, then you go move to the tabletop game of BattleTech, which is like, as I said, chess, but instead of squares, you have hexagons. So it's very, the rules
Oh,
are very interesting. So it is very cool, and the lore is also very interesting because imagine that you have medieval houses, great houses, fighting for power, and they instead of using knights, they have the mech warriors. So basically, it is like knights that instead of using steeds, they are going to use giant robots, giant combat robots. So it gives some cool factor to the whole scene of playing the tabletop game.
Right.
damn. That's interesting.
The team I play, I don't, where's my symbol? House Merrick. They are predominantly Slavic, Sikh, and something else. Because it's in the far, far future, and there's lots of different planets that have humans living on them.
Yeah.
And House Merrick was settled by pretty much Sikhs and Serbians and whatever, you know. There's some Russians in there too. So
Also,
those are the languages that are most common there.
yeah. Also, I wanted to ask what is your opinion about BRICS?
Bricks, I got no
Yeah.
problem with bricks.
Me neither. What I know is that it is an alliance, an economic alliance that has been basically gathering, basically because as an alternative to the existing system, and that's what I know.
Yeah, well, because NATO still exists, but I don't know why.
But
And
wouldn't like a
Americans are
BRICS
still
currency?
like anti-Russian, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's
Wouldn't a
like the
BRICS
Russians have
currency
never done
harm
anything
USA?
bad to us as far as I can remember. But our politicians want us to hate them really, really bad.
Yeah,
That's a true story. And of course, I mean, India joining BRICS, I can understand that because a lot of the European powers over the years have kind of not been as nice. And I don't mean the Raj or anything like that. I mean just trade. It's like they don't want India to be in NATO
I mean, USA
or
was
what.
attacking us as well in 1971.
So it's like so the Indians trade with Russia and whoever else they want to trade with, sometimes us, and and do their own thing. Okay.
But wouldn't it hurt USA
Would it hurt us if what? You stop trading with us? Probably.
if we created a new currency?
Yes, if but okay, look. And again, this is just my opinion.
Hmm.
The petrodollar, I think, has held America back more than it's helped
How?
because it made our money worthless and it made us
How?
too dependent on oil. So let's say you guys went to some kind of new currency, BRICS did, you only wanted to trade in that currency. Well, America could go back to the gold standard, which meant a dollar was worth X amount of gold, right? And
Yeah.
that would actually make our money a lot more stable and a lot more valuable. And it would help with inflation and, stuff like that. But, there are, as always, certain people who don't want that to happen because they want to keep Americans basically addicted to debt,
Hmm.
which is why Americans are always like, we're always told that we need. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every new thing that comes out, whether it's a basketball player's shoes or, the newest thing at a fast food restaurant, we need it. And that's what we're told because they have to keep us addicted to this fake money. And so, yeah, if you guys decided, screw it, we're not doing that money, it it would hurt, I think, but it might in the long run fix our issues. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but right now we've got this thing called the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah, I have read about it.
Well, they're not federal. They're not part of the government,
Why? How?
but they print our money. And
They,
here's what's extra funny about it. For every bit of our money they print, they charge us interest on.
How
So
much?
we have to pay them to print our money, and then we have to pay the interest on the money they printed. That's
Oh.
supposed to be our money. But they are a private thing. They're a private business, basically.
Hmm.
And yeah. So a lot of Americans like Ron Paul and everybody like that have been talking for years about getting out from under these guys. But, no one wants to do it because they're afraid it would hurt. So maybe if you guys did your thing, it would finally motivate us to take that pill and get the hell out from under them. Or not. I mean, I can't say, but that would be my hope,
what
because
I
American money is useless.
what I anticipate that will happen because at this moment people talk about the hegemony of the dollar. Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
the problem of that, or and the people talk about collapse and they use those fancy words and all that. But the problem is nobody defines what is a collapse. Nobody defines what is an hegemony. For example, if hegemony means de-dollarization, then there is no hegemony because there is de-dollarization. So it depends on how you define it. The supposed collapse or the worst case scenario that I have seen in case BRICS has its own currency is that the dollar will become one more currency. So basically, United States will have to deal with the fact that they have one other currency like any other in the world. At this moment, they have the world reserve currency, which is basically a currency that people use despite not having to buy anything using that currency. So it gives some special privilege, and at the same time, it delivers some special problems. So basically, and the problem right now is that it has been weaponized. So
Mhm.
basically,
Yeah.
this is what is creating BRICS. So the problem is not BRICS. BRICS is the result
Yeah,
of,
BRICS is the reaction to
yeah,
what has
exactly.
been going on with American monetary um, policy, which has been completely terrible since the 50s. And it's all like, oh, like, the reason the Democrats took out Muammar Gaddafi, right?
Yeah.
Because Muammar Gaddafi, president of Libya,
Yeah.
decided he was only going to let people buy his oil with gold. So Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton decided he had to die. And they got it done using a bunch of damn terrorists. And now in Libya, you can buy a black man for $50 because
Yeah.
they have slavery there. And it was all because one guy was like, I'm not going to take petrodollars anymore. If you want my oil, you got to pay gold. And we did what we did. It's like stupid piled on top of stupid. You know what I mean?
Just like clan
So,
invasion.
yeah, it's an invasion, but without invading.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what you do not like about the clan invasion in BattleTech.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I don't like invasions either, in general, especially like when they're stupid. It's like, so what happened is a bunch of CIA agents go to Libya. They contact a bunch of terrorists and armed freaking maniacs, and they give them a shit ton of weapons and money. And then those guys go kill Muammar Gaddafi. Not saying he was ever a good man. He was not a good person, but still. And then the country ends up worse than it was when he was in charge, because now the people who are in charge are a bunch of maniacs with
Yeah.
guns.
Exactly.
So, but you can buy oil from those maniacs for petrodollars. It's like, why do you think we're so mad at Iran all the time? I mean, the part they tell us is because Iran hates Israel. And they do. And that's not good. People should get along. But the
But
real reason is because Iran refuses to join the World Monetary Fund, the IMF.
yeah.
And because of that, it means we have zero control over their central bank. And that pisses Europe off. The IMF ain't even America. So if we go to war with Iran, it won't even be for America. It won't be for me. It won't be for my family. It'll be for rich fat cats in Belgium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It won't even be for us. And that's the stupidity of our whole system right now. I'm hoping the new president straightens some shit out and gets some people to realize, hey, America fighting wars for every other country, that's not what we're about. Your average American, even though we are good fighters, I mean, history has shown that we're good
Yeah.
fighters, but that doesn't mean that's what we want to do. It's not like Americans sit around all day just dreaming of invading places. Maybe rich people do because they get even more rich. But people like me, we sit around and we think about giant robots and growing garden,
And
petting our dog and talking to friends online, like
Playing board games.
playing board games, just, living life. But the super rich people in Belgium, they're plotting, Like these assholes were trying to get us into World War III with Russia.
Yeah.
Thank God Trump stepped in and was like, no, that's not happening. Because no one would win that. You know what I mean? There's no
But
winner. Because even if we sent everything we got over there and we managed to win, and I'm not sure we could, with conventional forces, the second the Russians were like, oh, we're losing, what do you think they're going to
bomb,
do? What'd you
nuclear
say?
bomb.
Yeah, boom. Right? And then it's like, well, there goes the whole world. It was nice
Yeah.
while it lasted, I guess. But now, like England would disappear in 2 seconds. There'd be no United Kingdom, a couple
Exactly.
bombs, they'd be just gone. And, we would, of course, deploy, then the French, and everybody be, before you knew it, it would just be the worst. It'd be like hell on earth. Literally, it'd be the worst thing you can imagine. People would be eating each other.
Do you think that the Jews actually control America?
I would say this. See, that's a loaded question. And some
Yeah.
people would say I'm anti Semitic for what I'm getting ready to say, but I want to preface it with I was raised Jewish. I
Hmm.
converted to Orthodox Christianity. Now, that said, I'm not comfortable with APAC having as much power as they have. I'm not comfortable with so many of our representatives being dual citizens.
Hmm.
It makes me feel like even if there isn't something going on, there's something going on. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, is there something really going on? Probably not. Probably not at all. But
But
it kind of seems like it could be. And that makes it
yeah.
worse because let me tell you, my Jewish dad, he's poor as shit. He lives in a trailer in Kentucky. So, if
Right
there's a
now.
big like organization of Jews making sure all Jews get rich, they missed us. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I know
Yeah.
a lot of Jewish people where my pop grew up in New York and Queens that are the same way. They're poor, they work. But is the Federal Reserve always controlled by a Jewish person? As long as I've been alive, the answer is yes. Right now, they got what? Yellen. And before her, they had like a Bernstein or a Goldstein. So you start thinking,
Yeah.
no. And also, are we willing to go to war and actually die because Israel and Hamas are doing their thing? I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't want to, and I don't want any young men in our country to. But it seems like some people, Christians, a lot of them, want that. And it's like, yeah, but you guys are old. You won't have to go. So it's easy for you to say.
Did you want to go to Iraq?
No,
Iraq?
but I joined the army and I'd taken an oath
Yeah.
and I got orders to go.
Hmm.
And because I am a man and I
Yep.
took an oath to go wherever my country sent me to deal with whatever I was supposed to deal with, that is what I did. Do I think it was right? In hindsight, no, because they didn't
Were
let us
you
finish the job.
were you on the front line?
Yes, I was in 3-7 Infantry, 24th Infantry Division,
Hmm.
and we were on the front line. My unit is the unit that drove up and cut Highway 8 in half
Hmm.
and ambushed the people trying to escape from Kuwait.
Oh
Like,
damn.
my unit, I was
Yeah.
there. We're the ones that fought with the Hammurabi division of the Republican Guard.
Oh.
And those guys, they actually fought. They were brave. I
Hmm.
mean, they lost, but they were brave. So I'll give that to them. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were brave men. They did their best. But I mean, Iraq was never going to, no matter what Baghdad Bob was saying, they were never going to do anything with the American army. Plus, that was back in 90 when the American Army was good. Like today, 20 whatever it is, I'm not so sure our Army's worth a shit. You know what I mean? Because they're too busy with men wearing dresses and, all of this stuff that has nothing to do with actually fighting and winning wars. It's all political shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not how you win wars. You
Yeah,
win wars by going to where the enemy is and killing his ass. And
not only that, the technology has changed, the nature of strategies has changed,
yeah,
the
drones have
tools,
changed the total game. The whole game
yeah,
has changed.
electronic warfare, drones.
Like a couple of dudes with a drone with a grenade on it can completely change the entire situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also the speed of
We see that in
advancement,
Ukraine.
the speed in which forces advance, the way in which people communicate. There are many things that have changed today from the 20th century.
Yeah, but the thing I'm mostly commenting on is at some point, America allowed itself to become soft. It become all about people's pronouns and their gender and all this kind of crazy shit, right? Which is fine if you're civilian, you do you. Go nuts, whatever, right? But if you're in the military, you need to be able to do the job and
Yeah.
not worry about your pronouns and who you like having sex with. None of that shit. It doesn't matter.
And survive.
Right. And live. That's the most important thing, is the living part. I mean, if you kill your enemy, that's fine and all. But if you die doing it, then which is why I say going to war with Russia is stupid, because no one wins. They start dropping nukes on us, or we start dropping nukes. Somebody starts dropping nukes. Could be the Chinese start dropping nukes. Could be anybody, All I know is somebody starts dropping that shit, and that's it. That's the end. Because once one person starts dropping that shit, everyone with it is going to drop it. You can count. I don't know if India's got it or not. I suspect probably.
We have.
Right. So, yeah, as soon as we start dropping, the next thing you know, India's dropping on Pakistan. Pakistan's dropping on India. Like China and Taiwan are going nuts. So we're dropping on China. China's dropping on us and Taiwan and whoever else they're dropping on.
And India.
And yeah. And then,
Russia.
a short 25 minutes later, everything sucks. All food production has ended. Everything has ended. There's no longer anything left. You're just sitting in this irradiated wasteland, staring at each other, those of you who survived it. And don't worry, though, because, the fallout and radiation and poison water and starvation and disease is going to kill the rest of you, probably. And
Yep.
I mean, and yeah, people need to know how horrible this is. People should not be trying to glorify World War III. There's no glory there.
Yeah.
No glory at all. It's just bad. But anyway, I'm going to take off. I've been on like almost 3 hours and I got to walk my dog. But I did finish primering the sandbag staircase leading up from this section of trench. And of course, the
That's
green
great.
corrugated paper will be painted metal so it looks like tin. And so let me see here. We got a bad guy soldier. We can stick him in there, though, so you can see, the scale.
This is another thing. We like games with miniatures, board games, but they use miniatures. This is
like chess, but different.
yeah, chess, but with more art.
Right. So I made this thing just out of some pink foam and paper. This is just paper. And then these sandbags are 3D printed. And so I'm going to run more sandbags along the edge here, maybe put some like fake barbed wire, and then this will be a piece of terrain that me and my brother can fight over, because I'm playing the servants of God, the trench pilgrims, and he's playing the servants of hell, the heretics, the heretic legion. And you know, and hopefully, I mean, the game is free. It's online. The rules are all free and everything. So I've already read them and they look good. So, but I better walk my dog. The sun is already setting here. But hey, it's nice talking to you guys. And I'll catch you later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Adios, Jose.
Hasta la vista.